What's up, all you Kevins? I hope you guys are having a great day. And I had somebody actually ask me why I call everyone Kevins. Well, I'm just going to tell you guys on film because I've talked to people and DM'd people before, but now everybody's going to know. I say Kevin not as an insult. I know that there's some sort of new slang dictionary, whatever, that means you're stupid or something. I don't know. That's not what it is. You guys are awesome. What it is my dad would always call people he didn't know Kevin, and he was like, I can't remember their name, so he would just call him Kevin and go with it, and they would just start talking to him. He's funny like that, so that's why I did it. I didn't want to say, hey guys, like everybody else, so that's why I said, hey Kevin. So I'm here now with a Kevin, which is not really Kevin, but it's close. I'm with Keith Keplinger. This guy has shot more Mustangs than most people I ever would meet in my lifetime. He's shooting my car right now, as you can see over there. So Keith, we're gonna follow you around for a second while you're doing some photography. And
great.
You know, so tell everybody, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been photographing cars?
I worked with Dobbs Publishing 1988 to 94. I left Dobbs Publishing in 94. I'd shot a couple of covers for them and some how-to work. I was art director and creative director. I worked with some of the best photographers in the world, showing me how to do everything that I needed to know how to do. And then in 94, my wife and I moved up here to the Atlanta area, and we opened our agency, Keplinger Designs. And it started out that I would be at a drag race shooting for my clients, and the magazines got wind that I was going to be at a drag race, and they would say, Keith, can we buy your disc? Yes, back in the old days when it was on CD. Selling my photography of events to various magazines, Muscle Mustangs, 5.0, Ford Builder, pick a magazine back in those days, back when there was lots of magazines to choose from.
You know what's funny about this video? I've never shot a video of anybody laying down before.
I lay down on the job a lot.
Yeah, they say don't lay down on the job, but that's kind of your job.
We lay down here because that's where the magic happens.
That's right. And it's just cool. It's just fun. So we shot some other stuff, and I thought it was interesting. You talked about your ghost engine shot. Oh, where'd you come up with that?
I've seen a couple of photographers do it, but I'm an art director. I work in Photoshop every day.
Yeah.
I like to think I'm better than most photographers because they just shoot pictures and they use Photoshop to retouch things. I play in layers and do all sorts of things in Photoshop, and I see how they do it, and it's a fairly hard edge to the ghost. They don't really have a lot of nuance to it. And I started doing it about 2 years ago to some cars that I was shooting, just as something different. And now just about everybody asks, are you going to shoot a ghost engine on my car?
Yeah.
Because it's really nice. You get a nice 3/4 of the car, you get a nice shot of the engine, you marry the two of them together, and you pick out little bits and pieces that normally would just be blown out by a regular photographer type, and I bring those back up with a 50 or 25% worth of their picture, so they're kind of ghosted across the hood.
Yeah.
To really make that drama looking like it literally is just kind of ghosting through the hood. It's kind of a neat, you got to have some hook. That's my hook.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it.
No, it's definitely quintessentially you. I mean, if I see it, I recognize it, and I'm like, hey, this is one of his shots.
That's
you know?
One of my shots, yeah. and like I say, that's okay. I'd rather be known for that than a lot of other things I could be known for.
All part of shooting cars. Got to move them around. You got to do all kind of stuff.
Why did I start shooting Mustangs? Well, like I said, I worked for Mustang Monthly and Super Ford Magazine as art director and creative director, along with their other titles. And by far, those two magazines had the largest advertising component to them.
Okay.
When I left Dobbs and started my agency, I started as an ad agency.
All right.
Because I could pick up those kinds of clients. And I had, at one point, I think I had 28 pages of Muscle Mustangs and Fast Fords.
Wow.
We were the go-to agency for the Ford business for the 2000s. It was a nice time to be in. And so I got to know all of those people, all the owners, all the cars. I started shooting cars for the magazines because I knew all these cars that were around. They were all Mustangs, and it kind of evolved into there.
I got you.
I unfortunately have never owned a Mustang.
Okay.
Won't say that I don't wish I had, but I don't own a Mustang. I've driven lots of them. I told you this famous story of me driving the Dugan supercar out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. And well,
a fun story, but
you told me, but obviously people that, you know, are around, they don't know the story, but, you know, so the Super Ford car, I did another video on. If you want to see that, go check it out on YouTube, obviously. But, you know, if you imagine a car that was built, not just a factory car. I mean, this car had a lot of power, a lot of stuff done to it.
A lot of unique stuff.
Yes.
The Subaru door handles were my favorite part.
Yeah, absolutely. And it had barely any miles on it since it was done. And you decided to do what?
Well, they were going to take it to the SEMA show to be in one of the booths. And Tom and I were talking about getting it to SEMA and all of that, the processes of that, and how expensive it was to get it back. And I said, well, I talked to the editor. I said, why don't I drive it back from SEMA? Because it was a Super Ford project car. I said, why don't I drive it back from SEMA and I'll write it up as a travelogue.
Yeah.
Save you the cost of that, or you pay my gas and my expenses. Everybody thought that was a great idea. My wife thought I was insane. She was right. So I get in the car. One of the most glorious sounds in the world is Friday night at the SEMA show when the show's officially closed.
Yeah.
And they say, gentlemen, start your cars. And the entire building erupts with everybody's car that they're starting up to drive out of the place. It is a glorious sound. The Coliseum has erupted. So I drove it straight out of there, and the first place you have to stop at is a gas station because you brought the car in on E because they don't like a lot of gas in the tanks when you're inside a building like that.
Right.
So me and 4,000 other cars are lined up at the nearest gas station trying to get gas in our cars. And I took off, drove it from Las Vegas to Phoenix the first night. Got to Phoenix, only got stopped by one cop. Well, you know, I just wanted to make sure everything was working with the car. You
That's
know?
right.
You're in the middle of the desert, you're driving all over everywhere, and you just want to see what the wheels do. And the cop pulls me over, and but I showed the officer the magazine and where I'd been, and he was close enough to see me that he knew. So he let me go with a warning, and from Phoenix to Abilene, Texas is the most boring drive in the history of the world.
Close the windows.
It is, you drive straight ahead and you see a mountain range ahead of you, and 3 hours later the mountain range is still ahead of you. But it was kind of fun in that car because it had a racing fuel cell. It had an 8 or 10 gallon fuel cell.
Yeah.
So you're driving from gas station to gas station. Crossing West Texas, not a car in sight. Across West Texas, I see a cop coming the other side. He sees me. He blips the lights. I stick my hand out and wave, and we just kept on going. I was running about 120, and we just. He didn't care. I didn't care. I could have you. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It was an interesting trip. Everybody knows about how the Foxbodies are notorious for having their headlight fuses go out when you run the headlights and fog lights for too long. I don't drive one of these every day. I didn't know that. 2 o'clock in the morning, just after I crossed the Georgia border from Alabama, rest area's in 1 mile, the welcome station's in 1 mile. I've got a semi-truck in front of me and back of me and one to my left, and bam, the car goes dark.
Oh my gosh.
Now he had tinted the windshield of that car because
he
it was
did.
a show car, and it went black at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
and I'm
my
surrounded by
gosh.
semi-trucks. And I was able to get where I could pull off in that rest area, stop, not knowing what to do. I called my wife. We got a tow truck. He got there about 4 in the morning. We got home about 6 in the morning because it was November. I'm not going to sleep in a car in November in Georgia. No. But we got the car back in one piece. He fixed the headlight switch and the fuse in about 10 minutes. And he was good to go with the car. We got lots of ink out of it, and I got a fascinating story.
Yeah.
I always tell people when you're driving someplace and you want to do a story like that, if nothing happens to you, you don't have a story.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But if things happen
That's
along
right.
the way,
Then you got a cool story.
then you got a cool story
right.
you can tell the grandkids.
Yeah.
Or
YouTube.
Or YouTube. So that was one of my highlights was driving that car back, being trusted with somebody's supercar that they hadn't driven, and here driving my car across country. It was a lot of
And just to drive a Fox cross country anyways.
Oh yeah.
Especially not one you'd ever been in.
And
No one had really ever
And somebody
even
was
driven
paying me to do it.
it. That too.
It's like,
And an 8-gallon fuel cell.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I mean, Keith, man, thank you so much for everything. It was fun coming out, doing the photography, doing the car-to-car. All that stuff is really enjoyable. I know people probably will, when they get that call or somebody's like, hey, we want to feature you, do this, do that. It's a dream for people, really. I mean, to have their car featured in something like your magazine, 2-page spread, or another Mustang or any kind of magazine is really something that people enjoy a lot.
Yes.
And so thank you for honoring me with this.
Not a problem.
But I did want you to mention, like, what is it that you do and where can people find it?
The 2-page spread is our quarterly magazine. It's available on Amazon Kindle. Amazon, search for the 2-page spread. Right now, I think we have 12 books published. The nice thing is they're not labeled with a date. It's volume 1, issue 1 through volume 3, issue 2 right now is out. So you can pick them up that way. We also do an annual once a year. One annual has all Mustang and Fords, and one annual has GM Mopar in the world. Kind of segregate that out. You can pick those up on Amazon also. Support us. We appreciate it very much. That's the only way we're making any money on this project. I do this project mainly because I love shooting cars. I love doing what you just said. People say, wow, I'm getting my car shot. And they don't really realize what all it entails to get a car shot. Because they shoot them in the parking lot and they think this is how you shoot a car, and it's not. So I enjoy my craft. I enjoy giving people car photography, working with various car owners. The stories are always phenomenal. Your story on this car, I can't wait to read it. It's going to be a great story. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Megan, thank you for driving. I appreciate that. You didn't kill either one of us. Yay. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, thank you. And if you guys hadn't already, I know I mentioned it, but hit subscribe.
Yes.
Hit the like button on this video. Share it with a friend. Go over and follow them on Facebook, the 2-page spread. And we'll see you, Kevins, on the next video.